Everyone keeps saying that the gap between the West and the East grows wider and wider every single year. And on the surface, that sounds true. But beneath the chaos and inconsistency, the LEC has quietly been building a culture that might finally be capable of breaking that cycle. Now, when people hear culture, they usually think of fans, broadcasts, and regional identity. And yes, the LEC is a multicultural league heavily shaped by French and Spanish fan bases. But that's not the culture I'm talking about. There's a deeper philosophy spreading through Europe right now. One rooted in how teams solve problems, and it traces back directly to a mindset refined by G2 esports. To understand why this matters, we need to rewind and compare how Europe and North America historically approached improvement. One of the clearest differences between NA and EU has always been structure. Historically, North America teams lean heavily into rigid systems, clear hierarchies, defined chains of command, and structured filters for deciding which problems deserve attention. In theory, this should make NA incredibly efficient. Problems get solved one at a time, cleanly, in order. But in practice, something breaks. When too many issues enter the system at once, solutions become generalized. Instead of solving specific problems, teams default to broader answers. The classic example, macro issues get reduced to just group. And that's how you end up with the infamous NA ARAMs. Europe, on the other hand, never started with clean systems. EU teams historically solve problems through confrontation, arguments, disagreements, and unapologetic debates. This gave European teams personality and creativity, but it came at a cost. Not everyone thrives in confrontation, which made results inconsistent. You could see this clash clearly when European stars moved to NA. Players like Perks entering environments where teammates preferred the safety of structure over open conflict, and that confrontational-driven method simply didn't translate. For years, this left Europeans stuck between chaos and inconsistency until G2 figured out how to harness it. Instead of eliminating confrontation, G2 built systems around it. I don't have access to insider information, but the framework is surprisingly elegant. First, games are played, then likely problems emerge. Players then confront those problems directly with each other, and the coaching staff doesn't dictate solutions, they observe. Their jobs then become about creating a healthy environment where arguments can exist without collapsing trust. Through that process, players reach consensus. Only then does structure enter the picture, used to implement solutions, not suppress discussions. There's no rigid hierarchy here, no single authority filtering ideas. It's a collaborative effort first, and structure second. Under the hood, however, their structure is incredibly complex, because once broad team-wide issues are solved this way, something powerful happens. The coaching staff is no longer busy firefighting general problems. They can shift towards tailored environments designed to help individual players solve their specific weaknesses more efficiently. That's why even when G2 esports looks shaky in recent games, the confidence inside the team hasn't collapsed. It isn't denial, it's belief in the process they've already tested under pressure. They're not asking if the system works anymore, they're asking what needs to be solved next. And you could see this mindset spreading beyond G2. Last year, Giant X was known as one of the strongest G2 scrim partners. They've won a lot in practice, but that confidence didn't translate to stage games. Now, that's changing. Their stage performances are stabilized. The wins are starting to stack, and more importantly, the players trust the process behind the improvement. The same pattern shows up with Los Ratones. Even sitting at a 0-3 scoreline, the confidence hasn't vanished because they know exactly what problems they're confronting. They're not lost, they're mid-process. And that's the real shift happening in Europe right now. This isn't blind optimism, it's teams learning how to fail productively, how to lose without losing direction. This is why it doesn't feel like a down year for Europe. It feels like a foundation being laid for something far more dangerous. It feels like Europe finally learning how to adapt. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a nice day.